am Corinne, also known as a Discerning Reader, and here I am bringing you my official May TBR, also officially declaring my TBR for the Bookemon Reading Challenge. As you can see, I am catching invisible monsters while I read. This month, as always, we are playing the Lord of the Rings adventure board game. To choose a TBR, I also have a new setup behind me, if you notice. My previous setup was that I would put the prompts up. I have like a little tiny whiteboard over there, and I would like put up the prompts and stuff, and you guys couldn't see them, and it was just a mess. So I wanted you guys to be able to see the prompts too. So as you can see, I have the prompts that I start that were at the end of last game. I thought that would be a more interesting way to do it than to do the same prompts every single time, because I feel like if I start with the same prompts every single time, then I'm just choosing the same old books every single time, and then it's boring for you guys. So from now on, I'm just going to keep the prompts that I stopped at last time. So to start off with, we have to change the hype prompt over here. That was the last book we chose. But before we do that, I have to let you know how I did in May. Be right back. These were all the books that I chose to read in April, and I finished most of them except for Prophecy of the Stones by Flavia Boujor, which I chose for TBR Vet, and The Blackthorn Key by Kevin Sands, which was my box of reading pick, which I thought I was in the mood for, but I really was not. I couldn't start it. Oh, and The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis, which was the one I finished just this morning. And I also read, I ordered Forbidden Dance, Volume 1, which is a book I was going to read for my Year of Asian Stories challenge, which you can view on my blog post down below. And I was going to just put off reading this until this month, and then I was like, you know what, no, I need something that I can finish. So I read the whole thing through. It's technically a reread, because I read it a really long time ago from the library. It's really good. It's about a ballet dancer who is training to be a professional ballet dancer, and then she makes a mistake at a competition and injures her foot. And then after that, she loses her confidence to dance anymore. And so she quits ballet, and then she finds herself going to this all-boys troupe of ballet dancers, and she decides that she can dance again if it's with this specific troupe. So we're going to start off this game by changing the prompt for Hype, which is the book that we had last time. That was the last one that came up. We chose Sorcery of Thorns. So we're going to go ahead and change Hype. I've got all my other prompts here. Fantasy! Good! I love fantasy so much, and I'm so happy this came up. I've also added in a new rule for this month. So in previous months when I filmed it, and I would just land on plain brown spaces all like 5-6 times in a row, and then it would make the video really long and boring to watch because I'm just moving Legolas and not choosing books and shouting about books. So from now on, I've been watching videos like Cody's Book Corner, her Wheel of TBR videos, and Becca's Bookopoly, and they have rules for themselves where if they get the same color like more than once, they have to add an extra roll or spin, and I really like that idea, so I'm going to steal it from them. So if I get plain brown spots 3 times in a row, so if I land on a plain brown spot, and then another plain brown spot, and then another plain brown spot, I have to add 1 extra roll at the end of the game. The Bookemon Reading Challenge, I am on Team Mystic, of course. I was on Team Mystic since Pokemon Go first came out forever ago. From day one, I knew I was going to be Team Mystic. And each prompt, and you have various prompts that you can fulfill as many times as you want. And you get CP to take down Team Rocket. I'm not doing a very good job explaining it. Meg does it very well in her video. I will link it down below. So for this TBR, I am going to aim for about 10,000 CP. I think I can do it. Roll the dice. As always, we are using Legolas for this game. And let him land. So he fell off of his stand, but the stand itself ended up at the doors of Durin, so that's where he's starting too. Roll number 1. And it's a 3. I don't know if you guys can see that. So, as always, I have to try and visit each section of the board at at least once. If I land on a plain brown spot, I get to roll again. 1, 2, 3. And it's a light brown spot, so we choose a fantasy book. Okay, so roll number 1 was to choose a fantasy book. So let me go see what my options are, and I'll be right back. It's always really hard for me to choose books. When I first started doing this game, I would just start recording and then choose books while I was playing, and it would take me hours because I have trouble deciding things. So I made a list of different books that I would like to read this month, and basically I've just chosen out a few of them. So first we have House of Many Ways by Diana Wynne Jones, which is the continuation to Howl's Moving Castle, which I read the first 2 books in the series, so I really want to finish the series to the end. Then we also have Where Carpets Fly by Elise Edmunds. This would be a reread technically, but based on the prompts for Blue Team, I've calculated it, and this gets me, I think, 1400 CP just to reread this book. And I really want to reread this book, actually. I've been meaning to reread it for a while. And it's my favorite thing in the world, and I love it so much, and it's 5 stars, and everyone should read it. And I think it's probably the best indie book I've ever read. We also got The Seventh Tower by Garth Nix. I don't know what this is, other than it's a middle grade fantasy series written by my favorite author of all time. And Clariel by Garth Nix, which is a continuation of the Abhorsen series, which I also want is one of my favorite series of all time. But I think for this prompt, I'm going to go with Where Carpets Fly by Elise Edmunds and reread it. I'm going to change out the fantasy prompt, but we're just going to give them a little shuffle here. I also have nice big ones too, so you guys can actually see them. I'm going to pick one from the middle. Eba, and roll number 2. I want to make sure you guys can see my roll. So, I think we're going to go down here, and then you can't see that, and then over there, and then over there. So let's just see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's a red dot. You can't see it. And we've landed on the Isen River, which is a landmark. So because it's a red dot landmark, I have to choose a Year of Asian Stories book. Prompt number 2 was to read something for Year of Asian Stories. This is the readathon that I started back in July of 2019, where I selected a certain list of books and things I wanted to read, and I set myself a goal to read all of those books by the end of the year, aka July. So it's getting to be close to July. We're already in May, so I need to get some reading done. I am going to choose one that I ordered recently that came, Sand Chronicles by Hinako Ashihara. This is another manga. I love manga, as you probably do or don't know about me, but unlike with Forbidden Dance, I didn't feel right just reading this without actually putting it on an official TBR or whatever. And we do not change the Year of Asian Stories prompt, because I have so many books on that list that if I only chose one every month, I'd never be able to do it. So, yeah, the goal is for me to choose multiple books of those category every month. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's a purple spot, so we have to choose an author love book. Prompt number 3 was to choose author love, which is basically choose a book by a favorite author. So let me go see what I got. So Diana Wynne Jones, I love her because I read Howl's Moving Castle. Then we also have Garth Nix, The Seventh Tower, which is, Garth Nix is my favorite author, as you guys know. This is volumes 1 through 3, but I would just read volume 1 from this book, and then volume 2 would be a separate book entirely. The one that I think I'm going to choose for this month, I am so excited about it, and that is Clariel by Garth Nix, my favorite author of all time. I'm so anticipating that one, and I'm so excited. Alright, changing out author love prompt. Here we go. Alright, and we're going to choose this one. Retelling. So if this one comes up, I have to choose a fairy tale retelling. Okay, roll number 4. This is really weird. So it's a 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's a plain brown spot. Roll again. Roll number 4 still. And it's a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. plain brown spot, so I have to roll again. Also, it's a dead end too, so yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's another plain brown spot. So that was the third plain brown spot in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And it's a fiery red spot. So it landed on random tarot. So I have to choose a card from my tarot set and read a book based on that. So I'm just going to kind of like let them shuffle a little bit in my hands and choose. Oh, there's like 5 of them on the floor now. Judgment, number 20 in the Major Arcana. The keywords are rebirth, forgiveness, salvation, release, and acceptance. This card represents absolution, redemption, salvation, and healing, which sounds like it could mean almost any book because, you know, character's journey and whatnot. But the prompt I have written down here is a book about a doctor. I have no idea if I have any books about a doctor. Actually, the Blackthorn Key, which I didn't finish last month, features an apothecary, which is like a healer slash person. Medicines, potions, and weapons. So yeah, they create medicines, so they're technically doctors. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the Blackthorn Key and see if I can finish it this month instead. Changing up the prompt. Choose one from the middle. Non-fantasy. So if this comes up, I choose a book that's not a fantasy book. Okay, roll. Here we go. Alright, so we want to go up that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's a fiery red spot. The next prompt that came up was to read a non-fantasy book. So I'm just going to go grab a couple of them. So we have The Vagrants by Wynne, which I've held up so many times in so many previous TBR videos. Also got Shanghai Girls, which is set in 1937 Shanghai, by Elise, who wrote The Snowflower and the Secret Fan, which I loved a lot. And we've also got Extra Credit, which is a middle grade, I believe it's contemporary. I believe it's just set in like modern day. But it's set in the Middle East. Modern day Middle East, and it's about a boy who becomes pen pals with a girl in America even though it's against his village's traditions. I'm going to go ahead and choose Extra Credit. I know nothing about this book except it's a middle grade, it's a contemporary, set in the Middle East, about a boy who has rules of his village that say that he needs to earn, I think he needs to earn extra credit, that's why it's called Extra Credit, and he gets extra credit by befriending a girl from America. I don't know. There's also no description on the back because it's I guess it's like a library edition or something. Yeah, Extra Credit. And change up the prompt. Random Cloud. Okay, this one's also good. So if this comes up, I choose a card from my set of Cloud cards over there. Cloud cards are essentially like tarot cards, but specifically for the anime Cardcaptor Sakura. They're actually right over here on my bed. These are the Cloud cards. So if this prompt comes up, I have to choose one of the Cloud cards, and then based on their meaning, just like the tarot cards, I choose a book based on that meaning. And yes. Okay, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's a plain brown spot, so we're rolling again. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's a dark green spot, so we're going to choose a reread. Our next prompt is reread, and for a while I was waffling between Aragon or The Little Broomstick, which is, I don't know where it went. But then I realized, A, I've been wanting to reread this book for a while, and B, it's Middle Eastern mythology, so it'll get me tons of CP for the Bookemon readathon. So I'm choosing Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones. This is the second book in the Howl's Moving Castle series. I read this last year. It's technically my favorite of last year. Spoilers for my favorites of 2019 video, which I still intend to post even though we're already into May. I'm going to post it really, really late because I'm just that kind of person. I own the third book in this series, House of Many Ways. But I've been hesitant about picking it up because I feel like I want to reread Castle in the Air and get a really solid understanding of the story first, so that I can then pick up book 3 and completely understand everything that's happened up until that point. But I'm going to go ahead and reread Castle in the Air because it'll get me so many CP. Two more rolls to go, and we're going to go ahead and change out the prompt. And let's choose this one. 5-star prediction. So if this one comes up, I have to choose a book that I think will be a 5-star. Roll number 7. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's a plain brown spot, so we're rolling again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's another plain brown spot. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've landed in Rivendell. So this time we have to choose another Year of Asian Stories book. So I have to choose another Year of Asian Stories book. So let's go ahead and get out some. I think you probably know which ones are coming now. These are my choices. So we have I Love You So Mochi, which you saw earlier. I need to reread this so I can write a review of it. But I've already got 2 rereads on the shelf, on the pile, so maybe not. We also got Haikyuu, which is technically in Japanese, but I can still read it. It would take me forever, so it would be a good idea to get this started now. We also have Shanghai Girls by Elise, which is a historical fiction about 2 sisters in 1937 Shanghai, which you saw earlier. And The Vagrants by Yi-Yun Lee. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Shanghai Girls by Lisa C. Or not just Shanghai Girls. I can't remember how many TBR videos I've shown this book and not chosen it, but I was just not in the mood to pick it up. I just realized, like, last month, I think I showed it in my TBR video last month too, and then I realized it's about sisters. I love me a sister story. And then I started reading it. I read like the first 2 pages or whatever, and I remembered how much I love Lisa C's writing style, and I'm going to choose this one. Plain brown came up 3 times during the game earlier, as you saw. Roll one more time and choose one more book. Alright, and it's an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's a light green spot, so that means it's my choice, finally! Okay, so the last book that we'll be choosing for this month is Corinne Choice, and I get to choose anything I want. So, you all knew this was coming. I've been anticipating this book for so long, and I've been so nervous about finishing the series, because then it means I don't have any more of these books to look forward to. But yeah, I'm going to read House of Many Ways, which is the 3rd and final book in the Howl's Moving Castle series. Here are all the 9 books that I'll be reading this month. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go figure out how much CP these guys are, and I will be right back. And I am aiming for at least 10,000 CP from this TBR. So I am on Team Mystic, so go Team Mystic. But my blue team, one of the blue team missions is to read books by Middle Eastern authors or about Middle Eastern mythology. And that will get me 1,000 CP if I do. So Carpets gets me 1,000 CP for being about Middle Eastern mythology. It also gets me 307 for the page count, 250 for being a non-Earth setting, and 5 for being a red cover. If you were on red team, this would reading a book would get 10 CP, but since I am on blue team, I get half their CP for fulfilling one of their team goals. Red team has 50 CP for a book you're reading that you are passionate about reading, but since I am, or a book that you're dying to read, but since I am on the blue team, this gets me 25 for being a book that I'm passionate to start reading, plus another 200 CP for the beautiful cover, because my Pokemon that I'm using to fight Team Rocket is Blastoise, which is a water type, and water types get 200 CP per beautiful cover book that I read. So In total, Carpets gets me 1,787 CP. Next we have the Blackthorn Key, which again is a beautiful cover, so that gets me 200. It's 371 pages, so that gets me 371 CP. And it didn't count for Carpets because it's a reread. I'm not counting it for rereads. But read a book from your owned TBR or from the library. I own this book. And that gets you 100 CP. Blackthorn Key in total gets me 671. Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones. Beautiful cover, gets me 200. It's 285 pages long, so I get 285 CP. Logic. Read a book that you logically should get to. Because I'm about to start House of Many Ways. Is that what it's called? Yes. Logically, I should reread Castle in the Air first, so it gets me 50 CP for that. A book set in a non-Earth world gets 250. A book about Middle East or mythology gets me 1,000. And another red cover gets me 5 more. So that's a total of 1,790. Clariel, the beautiful cover gets me another 200. It's 382 pages long, so I get that much CP for that. Gym Training, I own this book, so I get another 100 CP. And read a book that ignites a passion in you. This is a book about necromancy and magic and a continuation of a series that I've been wanting to finish for a while now. So if that's not passionate, I don't know what is. Sand Chronicles. This little book gets me, it's not a beautiful cover, really, especially not with this. It's an ex-library copy, so this little sticker here doesn't really help very much. 200 pages, so that's how many CP I get for that. 100 for it being a book that I already own. And it's by an Asian author, which counts for Red Team's goal of finding Moltres. So that gets me 500 CP. So in total, that gets me 800. Extra credit gets me 183 CP for the page count. 100 for a book that I own, and 1,000 for being set in the Middle East. So that's 1,283. Shanghai Girls is 309 pages, so that gets me that many CP. Plus 50 for being a logical choice of a book I should get to next, being that I've shown it several times in previous videos and never chosen it. And Lisa C. is an author whose writing style I really like. 100 for being a book I own. 500 for being a book by an Asian author. So in total that gets me 959 CP. House of Many Ways. This cover, I would say it's pretty beautiful cover. I like this cover. So it's 200 CP for the cover. 404 for the number of pages. 100 for being a book I already own. 250 for being set in a non-Earth world. And 25 for being a book that I'm passionate to read. So that gets me 979. Haikyuu gets me 223 CP for page count. Unfortunately, the cover is not one that I'm particularly attracted to. 100 for being a book that I already own. 125 for a book that lights a fire in me. So, for example, reading a book that that is about a subject that you want to learn more about or that you're interested in. And this book is about volleyball, and I will admit that Haikyuu was the thing that watching the Haikyuu anime got me into volleyball, but now I am into volleyball, so since I am interested in reading a volleyball-based story, this counts. Or just sports in general. I like reading stories about athletes and sports people. I don't know if that made sense. And 500 for being a book by an Asian author, obviously. Hariichi Furudate. So that gets me 948 CP. I did the math, and all of my books in total, there's 9 books, 10,174, which is a very good number, way over the 9,000 that I was aiming for. These are the 8 books that I will be reading this month, along with Haikyuu, which has disappeared somewhere in my filming process. I'll find it eventually. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment down below telling me if you will also be participating in the Bookemon readathon as well. What Pokemon have you chosen for your Bookemon buddy? I am very interested to hear. If you're on Team Mystic, shout out below. Go Team Mystic. Please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my latest updates. I think that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye!